Well, a major talking point in the Premier League this week has been about contracts and two players putting pen to paper on new deals with Manchester City. It's myself, Warren Ashurst, and Tom Hill alongside me to discuss this talking point. And Tom, both Oleksandr, Zinchenko and Kyle Walker, as some people might say, surprisingly extending their deals with City. Let's start off with Zinchenko, who 6 to 8 months ago seemed certain to be heading out the exit door at the Etihad Stadium. Yep. What an amazing turnaround. I have to say, I, for one, really pleased because I rate him as a player and I think he's done ever so well. And it is a highlight to those players who may be on the fringes of other clubs that if you can knuckle down and get a chance in the first team, then you can turn your career around.
Yeah, you certainly can. And I think what's even better as him as an advert is the club he's done it at. You know, the team that have got all the money in the world to go out and buy any replacement they want. When they brought Benjamin Mendy, and I think everyone expected that he would be on his way out and maybe pushing for another club in the Premier League that would give a chance, but he's stayed fit. He's very active, and the one thing I think is most impressive: what can't he do? You know, he can tackle. He's incredibly fit. He's got a great left peg on him to try and get up and down the flanks. And it's a fabulous deal for him. And I think you could tell in the pictures and his comments in the week just how proud he is of himself. And to be honest, it'd be very harsh to replace him next season.
It would be. And I say they've had an issue at left back. It hasn't stopped them winning the league over the last couple of seasons, but it's certainly an area that City would have looked to try and strengthen, and teams might have looked to exploit. But I think Zinchenko has been excellent, and hats off to him. And hats off to Pep Guardiola as well, who has pretty much said, right, OK, you've taken your chance, and he deserved the chance to stay in the team, and now, of course, ultimately get a new contract. Now, Kyle Walker, maybe not as much of a surprise, but he was in and out of the side last season, and a few people suggesting that he could be on the move, and maybe that Pep Guardiola wasn't 100% pleased with him, but it would seem that he still has a future at City.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it doesn't seem too long ago, does it, that he was the star of the England defence in a new centre-back role, and people were sort of maybe looking at would he maybe drift into the middle for City. He stayed out on the right. And he had a decent campaign again. I mean, he's got his critics as Kyle Walker. I know many believe his final delivery isn't, I guess, as good as it could be. But there's not many defenders that are as quick as him, Warren. He's brave and he knows the club. And the thing is, he deserves, in a way, it's that old cliche, and he's worked his way up the leagues. He played at Sheffield United. He came through the ranks there. And again, another player that's been rewarded for his fine work. I think many people thought City would just try and gazump others and maybe throw their money at things and try and replace these players. But Guardiola stood by them both, and it was those positions, the wing backs, they signed 2 or 3 at a time, didn't they? They signed Danilo, Walker, Mendy and Co all at the same time. Now it looks like it's a bit of faith in those positions.
Yeah, it does indeed, and it'll be interesting to see whether City feel like they need to add any more additions in the wing back / full back areas for the new season. But certainly both Zinchenko and Kyle Walker delighted to extend their stays at the Etihad Stadium. Let us know what you think. Was it the right decision to give them new contracts? Do you think they'll be regular starters next season? I'll get in touch, of course, on our social media pages at Twitter and at Facebook. And, of course, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel.